Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good evening, dear second year students. Welcome again to the third lecture of our course entitled An Introduction to English Language Teaching. Okay, still we are with the topic of exploring teaching, or the exploration of teaching. Last lecture we said that the exploration of the teaching process could be self-observed. So the teacher can observe himself or herself by doing, different activities that we talked about them last lecture. Today, we will know that teachers can explore their teaching through observing other teachers. Okay, they observe their teaching through watching other teachers. So you may ask, how can teachers see their own teaching in the teaching of others? So we say that in addition to self-observation, observing the teaching of other teachers is also another effective way of exploring our own teaching. One may ask how we can see our teaching in the teaching of others. The answer is when we observe others to gain knowledge of the self, we have the chance to construct and reconstruct our own knowledge. When we observe others, we should not only have a magnifying glass to look carefully at what was being done, but we should also have a mirror so that we can see what is being done as a reflection of much of what we do. So when we watch other teachers teaching, let's imagine that we have a big mirror and we see the other teacher as a reflection of ourselves. So we see what is being done inside his or her classroom is the same thing that is done in our classes. So we will see him or her as a reflection of our teaching. So we not only have a magnifying glass, okay, that help us to see what is going on in his classroom, but we are having a mirror that reflects for us what is going on in our classes as well. Then, how can we see their own teaching in the teaching of others? How can teachers see their own teaching in the teaching of others? So while we observe other teachers, it is possible for us to do the following. So what steps do we follow? What procedures do we follow so that we can see our teaching through the teaching of others? We have different strategies, we have different procedures that we should follow in order to see how the teaching of others can be seen as a reflection of our teaching. Now we can do so by the following steps. First, collecting samples through audio or videotaping. We collect samples of other teachers' teaching by having their lessons audio taped or videotaped, or by taking snapshots, taking pictures, photos of what is going on inside the classes. We can also take fast notes. So you jot down notes, you write down notes about the way things are done inside the classroom. You can also draw sketches. Okay, so you can draw the interactions that happen inside their classrooms. You can tally behaviors. Okay, you can also speak about the behaviors or of the interactions that are going on inside the classrooms. And you can jot down short transcripts like samples of interaction. So you write the kind of interactions that actually happen inside the classroom. So you, for example, write down the interaction between student to student and between the student to teacher and between the teacher to student. So you write the the actual dialogue, the actual interaction that happens between them. Okay, now the observers and the observed teachers are encouraged to get together to look at photos, listen to tapes, uh, view videos, study short transcripts, and talk about the class. By doing so, all parties will benefit from the exploration process. So when I, as an observer, okay, collected the samples either by audio taping them or videotaping them or by taking snapshots or by taking notes or drawing sketches or tallying behaviors or jotting down short transcripts. Now, I should not take them for myself only. No, I should sit with the teacher being observed. Okay, so I should sit with the teacher that I observed his or her lesson. Okay, now we sit together. Okay, we look at the pictures, we look at the photos, and try to say what is going on, to describe what is going on in the pictures. We listen to the tapes and also we describe the kind of interaction that we listen to. We view the tapes, the videos, and also we describe the kind of interactions, the kind of techniques being used, the kind of activities that were experienced by the students and the kind of instructions that the teacher used. We also study the short transcripts and we talk about the class. So, when we do so, when we sit together as the observer and the observed, when we sit together, we will both get benefit from the exploration process. So, this is the way how the exploration process is done. Now, talking as part of exploration. So the exploration process should include what? Include talking, include writing, and okay. So how talking as part of the exploration process is used to enhance it. Exploration can be enhanced through talking about teaching. So we can enhance the a process of exploring some other teachers' classes by talking about their teaching. So teaching can offer chances to learn about and reflect on our own teaching. Usually, talking about teaching is done according to a three-step evaluative sequence. Now this is the traditional way. When we talk about the teaching of others, we do it in a classical three-step evaluative sequence. Okay. Now what are these, three steps of that evaluative sequence? First, positive or negative evaluation is made. So for example, you say, you kept the students active all the time. This is the kind of what? A positive evaluation. So you start your talking about the class or the teaching that you have observed by giving a positive feedback, a positive evaluation. You say you kept the students active all the time. Or if you did not like the class, did not like the teaching, certain aspect, you didn't like certain aspect, you may start with a negative evaluation. So like when you say, you didn't give students enough time to speak. This is the kind of the negative evaluation. Okay, so you say you didn't give students enough time to speak. So this is the first step in the three-step evaluative sequence. The second step justification. So you provide explanation of why the comment was made. You provide explanation why you said the positive thing at first place, or why you said the negative thing at the the first place. So you say why, okay? You justify your position as giving a positive or negative evaluation. The third step is to prescribe. So prescription, what should be done in the class to improve teaching. So you first you give the positive or negative evaluation, then you justified it, and then you prescribe the thing that should be done to improve the process of teaching. Okay, so it is just like when you go to the doctor. Okay, you say, I'm sick, okay, I have these symptoms. Okay, so the doctor prescribes what? Prescribes a prescription for you, prescribes the kinds of medicines that you should take. This also happens in the three-step evaluative sequence. The third step is that of a prescription. So you tell your colleagues what they should do in order to improve their teaching. So you can say such thing. You should do more. You should do more pair work and group work. Okay, so you prescribe something to improve the process of teaching. Now, this three-step evaluative sequence to talk about teaching is not productive. Okay, so if you really want to have the exploration process be productive, then you should never follow this sequence. You should never follow this sequence. Why is that? You may ask, why is that? Okay, it's okay. We are giving judgments. Okay, now we say no, because judgments take attention away from description of teaching toward feelings about what is going on. When we judge, when we say that this is good, okay, this is positive and this is negative, this is bad, okay, now we take the judgment, we take the attention away from description. So we are no longer interested in describing what is going on. We will be interested in the kind of feelings that we felt due to the positive or the negative evaluation. So we should avoid giving judgmental and prescriptive discussion. Okay, so through non-judgmental and non-prescriptive, okay, prescriptive, sorry, through non-judgmental and non-prescriptive talking, we can gain lots of description, which will help to generate lots of alternatives. So if we avoid giving judgments and if we avoid giving prescriptions, then we will be free from the positive feelings and the negative feelings. So we will be able to gain lots of description, and we will be able to generate lots of alternatives. Okay, so this is the first thing that we talk about. We talk about the teaching. Sometimes we write about teaching. Okay, writing as part of exploration. So we write about the lesson, the teaching of the teacher we are observing, okay, as part of the exploration process. So exploration can be enhanced through writing about teaching in a journal or a diary. So you should keep a journal or a diary, okay, and the purpose of the writing in the journal or in the diary is to have a place to record our observations of what is going on in our own and other teachers' classrooms. So teachers should include the following list in their journals. So when you are a teacher and you are observing your own teaching, or you are observing some other teachers' teaching, you should write these things. Okay, you write these things. First, you describe the classroom interaction as well as you give the analysis and interpretations of these descriptions. So first, you describe what is going on inside the classroom. So for example, you describe each aspect separately. So you describe, for example, the interaction, okay, between the student and the teacher. So you write, okay, describing interactions between the students and the teacher. So you describe the interaction, okay, and you analyze it. You analyze that interaction, and then you try to provide the alternatives that can replace the way the students interact with the teacher. Okay. You may write something, you may describe about the process of correction errors. How do we correct? How do the teachers corrected the students' errors? Okay, so you describe it, and then you analyze it, and then you provide alternatives. Okay, so you write a description about each aspect in the teaching of the class that you are observing. The second thing, you write about what you tally sheets and transcripts, sketches, and coding as part of descriptions and analysis. So again, if you have pictures and transcripts and sketches, okay, so you also describe them, you analyze them, okay, and you write down whatever alternatives that might be used to replace or enhance the way things were done inside the classroom. 3. Photos and descriptions of what is going on in each photo. So suppose that we said that we can observe other teachers, we can collect our material, our data about the teaching of other teachers through what? Through photos, through taking photos and snapshots. So whenever you take a photo, whenever you take a snapshot, you should provide a description for each single one of them, okay, separately. Okay, when you provide the description, then you analyze it, okay, and then you you give alternatives to the way things were done, how the things were done. And 4, you summarize and reflect on the discussions with other teachers. So you do not keep these things for yourself only, but you should summarize them and you give your own reflections without evaluations. Remember, reflections without evaluations. Okay, you don't say that this is good and this is bad. No. Okay, you just provide the descriptions and you provide analysis and the providing alternatives without saying anything about judgments and prescriptions. Okay, so you share these things with the teachers, with other teachers, so that we can come up with more ideas, with more alternatives, and you could have also more descriptions. Okay, and after, when you sit with other teachers, this will lead you to give a very long list of alternative ways of teaching the different aspects of the lessons. That's all for today, and I hope that you have all understood what is going on in the lecture. Okay, thank you for listening.